Today on the Flash Traffic Podcast, we talk about the Venezuela Armada, the EU actually doing something, Ukraine striking Russia, and a Suburban SUV with a minigun. Okay, let's go.
Conflict, politics, military-industrial complex, technology, war. The Flash Traffic Podcast.
We have to start with Venezuela.
Okay, let's do it.
Last week, we talked about how the Navy SEALs boarded a Venezuelan oil ship. This week, Trump orders a blockade of some oil tankers to and from Venezuela. That is the headline in the New York Times. Apparently, he is blocking some of the ships, the 30 ships that are subject to sanctions, U.S. sanctions. Trump said, quote, Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America, end quote, which is completely not true because in 1962, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis. Do you know how many ships were around Cuba in 1962?
55.
U.S. ships? 55, no. 180 U.S. Navy ships.
Wow.
Including 8 aircraft carriers. That was in the heyday of the Navy when the Navy actually mattered and we actually needed boats floating on water to do national security and geopolitics. 180 Navy ships.
That's a pretty big statement you just said, a damning statement of the Navy.
I should let me be more clear. It would be nice to have a large Navy that actually did things for national security, but that's not the case anymore.
What about the Aegis ballistic missile defense system? Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, that's great. That's nice
for exo-atmospheric missile intercept. You know.
Yes, we need those to intercept the 3 missiles that will come over the horizon. Sure. In Operation Southern Spear off the coast of Venezuela, there are 11 U.S. warships.
The biggest armada ever.
I've been told it's a very large armada, a very nice armada. It's my favorite word now. It used to be tariffs. Now it's armada. I love the word armada. Yeah, 11 warships, 1 aircraft carrier versus 180 warships in 1962 in the Cuban Missile Crisis. 8 aircraft carriers back then. Granted, we had a larger Navy. There was 100,000 sailors or military personnel in the Cuban Missile Blockade. There are about 15,000 U.S. personnel right now, completely surrounded.
So how do we determine, if there is any way to determine this? Like, how did Trump achieve that level of ignorance of even basic concepts, facts? Do I have to go back to Rick Tillerson's comment? Trump is dumb as shit. That was his professional assessment from Trump when leaving the administration. Yeah, Trump is dumb as shit.
Rex Tillerson was a Secretary of State under Trump, right? First term.
Dumb as shit.
And he was a businessman as well.
Was his professional assessment. And all of them determined that Trump's a clown. Like, all their professional assessments after dealing with him is he's an ass clown.
And that may be true, and it's probably very true, especially given the recent statements about the killings in California. Who was the I'm drawing a blank, the director that was killed by his son and his wife was killed.
Was it Rob Reiner?
Rob Reiner, thank you. His statements about Rob Reiner, clearly that is not normal. Like a normal person would not do that. So I think there is some serious cognitive.
So a mentally
decline
ill
there.
ass clown would do that.
He's mentally ill.
But is Trump any less of a mentally ill ass clown on his second time around than he was the first time around? Is there a difference?
Does your average military flag officer, admiral in the Navy give two flying fucks whether Trump is psychotic and cognitively impaired or not when they get the call in the morning, hey, we're sending an armada to Venezuela? Can you imagine the size of...
They do care.
They do not care at all. Can you imagine the size of that admiral's boner when he heard the news that they're sending an armada? Admiral Dickface, I want you to send your boats down to Venezuela and use Navy SEALs to interdict oil vessels. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine how excited those are? They don't care. They don't care if they could be talking to a walrus with an electronic box on their throat. They don't give a shit. They're just happy to be there. No admiral, general, colonel gives a shit about Trump's mental capacity.
Listening
and they
audience,
say you get to do what you want to do.
Please ignore this. Please ignore this whole tirade. This made up nonsense.
It's not made up. They're super excited to do whatever Trump wants to do when they say, hey, you can use your toy army to go invade Venezuela. The generals are super excited about that. They don't give a shit where it came from. They don't care who says it or why they say it.
Couldn't disagree anymore. I would like to have as a warped sense of our leading military leadership as you do, but I possibly can't unless I was on meth or something. But okay, fair enough. We'll take it for what it is.
Good. Okay, back to Operation
Two divergent opinions. Okay.
Yes. Let's agree that you're an idiot. Okay. Operation Southern Spear. Getting back to that. So there's basically about 30 tankers that are subject to the sanctions, the U.S. sanctions. And Maduro has ordered. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. There's a gap in my knowledge there about how many tankers that maybe you could chat GPT that real quick. How many tankers overall does Venezuela have? But 30 of these tankers are subject to the sanctions. Maduro has ordered a naval escort for tankers. Now, what could go wrong? What could go wrong there? I believe those tankers that are being escorted by the Venezuelan Navy are probably not the sanctioned ones. And I think Maduro, if I had to guess, he's trying to trap us into making a mistake and boarding or attacking one of those tankers that are not sanctioned.
I'm not getting a lot of good information. They say anywhere from 50 to 75. It evolves, it changes. It looks like maybe they lease tankers or put contracts on them as required. So it looks like from not determined, it's floating. No pun intended. Some are sanctioned, some are unsanctioned. Let's say half.
Let's say half the tankers. So my guess is that Maduro is going to try to bait us, the United States, into attacking one of those non-sanctioned tankers, just to give us a black eye. 80%.
I don't think he needs to do anything more to embarrass us. The Trump administration embarrasses the U.S. and embarrasses itself all by themselves. They don't need help from anyone else. Trump needs no help from anyone.
I think you're probably right. Did you know that 80% of the oil that Venezuela produces is sold straight to China? And 20% of that goes to other places. One of those other places is Cuba, and Cuba takes the oil that Venezuela gives to them and they sell it to China. Some of it, they use some of it for their 100-year-old cars on the island, and then the rest that they don't need, they sell back to China again. So this is really an oil play for us to thwart China and protect American interest, which one American company, Chevron, still operates in Venezuela and still making the regime rich.
So you would say then that this has very little or nothing to do with the air quotes war on drugs. The war on drugs is merely a front for what actually Trump wants, which is regime change. It's not about drugs. That's made up because you'd go after Mexico if it was really about drugs, and you haven't.
If it was about fentanyl. So there's no cocaine, almost no cocaine produced in Venezuela. And the cocaine that traffics through there, most of it goes to Europe. So it's not about drugs, but it is about drug trafficking.
It's made up.
Well, yeah, it's pretty much made up. You're right. If they wanted to stop the fentanyl coming into the United States, they would attack Mexico, and that may not be too far-fetched either.
Well, and China.
Let me show you.
Doesn't like the majority of the chemical precursors come from China? In fact, a slang for fentanyl
I do not know that.
Is China girl.
Ooh.
Yeah,
okay.
I think most of the chemical precursors
juicier.
for fentanyl, they come from China. Yes, it's the Chinese drug gangs that pay off corrupt local officials. Apparently in China, about everyone can get paid off, not dissimilar to the U.S. But yeah, that's part of that, the international trade. A lot of the precursors start with China.
I believe it. So it is a global, international, the world is flat kind of industry of fentanyl. Look at this article from Politico. Quote, House GOP barely rebuffs attempts to rein in Trump on boat strikes, Venezuela. End quote. So apparently the House, the Dems were trying to get a vote that got voted down to limit Trump's ability to attack Venezuela, both in the country and doing these what the Dems like to call fishing boat attacks. And clearly they're not fishing boats. Fishing boats do not have 4 giant racing motors and a bunch of guys carrying drugs. So they're not fishing boats. But so I think we're full steam ahead here after this vote.
Nonsense. Nonsensical policy.
This is going down.
That's the personal idea of a morally bankrupt President Trump who can't seem to do anything for the good of the country, but can easily do something for the good of himself and his ego. That's what the whole Venezuela shticks is obviously about. Again, I talk to people in the Latin American space who are professionals, who are professors, who served their whole careers as FAOs. Dude, what's the play in Venezuela? Well, it must be obvious. It must be reasonable. You spent your career in this. And they're like, I got nothing. I have no idea what to tell you. I said, isn't it about the drugs, dude? They're like, no, obviously it is not about the drugs. That's made up. Because if you really want to do something about it, you would have done something much different. This is a personal driven agenda, just like the invasion of Iraq was made up garbage by the Bush administration. That too was a personal agenda. The neocon also agenda of we can change and just get rid of these dictators and have a Pax Americana in the Middle East. Yeah, none of that happened. So Venezuela, this seems to be all just made up as the invasion of Iraq.
It's made up
nonsense.
Irrespectively, I think
Did you
this
use
is
that
going
word
down.
correctly?
I don't know. I
Five
used it
syllables.
as
Impressive.
I used it as an adverb, I think. So, but this thing is going down. I think we're cleared hot. I think we're going to go, well, yes. I've outlawed Venezuela forever. We begin bombing in 5 minutes. Well, yes. Well,
what do you think?
That's my Ronald Reagan impression.
What do you think the U.S.'s impression
yes.
or the perception of the U.S. is in Latin America? What do Latin Americans overall think about the U.S.?
I don't think they think about America unless they're being given money by America.
So I've talked to people in Latin America. Just in case you don't know, many of them do not think highly of the U.S. They look at to the U.S.'s history. You want to talk about the Monroe Doctrine,
Hmm.
U.S. intervention in Latin America, the 60s, the
Banana
70s, the
republics.
80s, the whole. Yeah, we know what's best for you.
Nicaragua.
We'll overturn elections that were free and fair, but we didn't like the outcome. So the U.S.
Mhm.
reputation is not good in many Latin American countries. It all depends, whatever. But I've talked to people from Latin America, and a lot of them, quite frankly, despise the U.S. And I'm like, what? Why? I don't get it. Yeah, because if you're
Yeah.
meddling in our affairs where there's no need for you to do so, or we simply don't want you here, add
Mhm.
Venezuela to the list. Um, like again, what is the intelligent thought driving this? What is the consensus that says, hey, we should be doing this? You don't like Maduro because he's an asshole? There's a lot of leaders in Latin America and all over the world who are a bunch of assholes. So again, why
Go
is
to
it this? Oh, it's the oil.
go anywhere in the world. I can't think of anywhere in the world where you can go and ask the general population, "Hey, what do you think of America?" And they'll be like, "I love America." They might
Why
like
is that?
Americans, but
Why is that?
except for Kuwait,
Why is that? Why is that?
uh,
Why is that?
because we're a superpower and we do what we want, right? So unless we're giving them money or we're liberating them from Saddam Hussein, or unless we're giving them a lot of money and basically liberating them, everybody else is like, I hate America.
But
Yeah, I get it.
stupid decisions don't make your reputation in the world any better. I traveled to
Yeah.
Canada under Trump 1.0, and we were basically despised. In a restaurant, they thought we were a bunch of dickheads because Trump is a dickhead.
Well,
And I'm
that
like,
might have been
well,
you. That
like,
might have been you,
well,
though.
but we didn't actually say anything. So you can assume that
It's just
because
the
from the
look of you,
U.S.,
dude.
we're dickhead. I'm
Just
not
looking at
sure.
you.
Well, bring your Chrome Dome across the border to Toronto. Let's see what they think of you.
If I saw a picture of
they
you
thought
and somebody asked me,
they
is this
assumed
guy a dickhead? I'd
because we
probably
were
say yes,
Americans that we were a
not
bunch
knowing
of
anything
jerk
about you.
offs, just like Trump,
Yes,
because Trump's
that's
a
true.
jerk off. But then when our
Yes.
kids are actually polite and we interact with them politely and professionally and yes ma'am and no ma'am and order and blah blah blah, and they're like, and the lady's straight up, she's like, you're not what I thought you were. Like in her mind, all
That's human
Americans
nature.
are jerk offs because Trump treats the world as if he is a jerk off
Well,
himself.
that's just
Now
human
add
nature. I
Venezuela
mean,
to this. Yeah, it's just human nature to be a jerk off to the
well,
planet. That's probably Tony Tingle's human nature,
jerk
but like
off
that's not
to the
mine. I don't
planet.
walk around
Uh,
and try to be a jerk off to the world because I
I'm
feel
just
like it.
saying
But
the
Trump
the
does.
average human on the planet doesn't know shit about shit. So if you ask them, what do you think about people from Morocco? The average person would, oh, I hate Moroccans, until you meet a Moroccan and they're like, oh,
So
I like Moroccans. They're not
so you just
bad.
completely make this up. This has no non sequitur,
Here
has
we go.
no data
Where
knowledge whatsoever. Just made up nonsense from you. You should be
Hey,
a Trump advisor.
you went to Canada once.
You should be. I've gone to Canada
Congratulations.
several times.
Oh,
You should
you're
be a.
worldly traveled. You're well traveled.
You should be a Trump advisor.
I,
You're already a
really?
Russian. You're already a Russian sock puppet. You're
Oh,
already halfway there.
Speaking of Russian sock puppets, let's go to Ukraine because three big things happened in Ukraine. One, which I think is the biggest, Europe just approved last night, a big payout for Ukraine. Number two, Europeans and Americans in Germany released an outline of the security guarantees for Ukraine. And number three,
that's a contradiction.
Ukraine had some very successful strategic strikes this week. 2 S-400 systems.
How much they cost?
The S-400 system, just the mobile, the transporter erector launcher, what we call a TEL, just the thing that a truck with missiles on it, is about $80 million a piece if they're fully loaded with the missiles. And Ukraine hit 2. And we'll talk about that in a second. But what I first want to talk about is this payout.
Okay. Was it 90 billion euros?
It's about $105 billion. So yeah, whatever that
That's a substantial amount.
the title of this New York Times article, and I'll put this in the show notes, quote, with new EU loan, Ukraine avoids budget crunch and can plan war effort. Apparently, there was a $105 billion loan that the EU approved just last night. And that should cover a portion of Kyiv's financial needs for roughly the next 2 years. Ukraine, as we've talked about on this podcast before, Ukraine says it needs about $120 billion a year to fund the war, and half of that comes from Ukraine. And so roughly this should fund the war for about 2 more years. And this is plan B because Europe failed to allocate the $200 billion in frozen Russian assets
They're still
for
afraid to
Ukraine.
do that. Yep.
Yeah, because of resistance from Belgium, of course, Italy, and a couple others.
But Belgium, they're the one that runs the financial system.
They're on the hook for it.
Yeah, they're on the hook for it, and it doesn't look good.
Yeah,
for them.
So this was plan B, but this is pretty good. I mean, in terms of Europe actually doing something, this is pretty impressive. I have to eat a little bit of crow because I'm a Europe hater. So I have to hate
everyone, dude.
I do hate everyone and everything also, by the way, but especially Europe and the Russians. But look, this is good job, Europe. I mean, this is basically Ukraine's fuck you money now. They have fuck you money. They have leverage. They have leverage in the negotiations. They have leverage on the battlefield now, if you want to call it leverage. But this thing can keep going for 2 years.
And from an overall perspective of Ukraine, air quotes, winning, they need this. They need to be able to show Russia, hey, and same with Europe, and air quotes, same, I really can't say the West anymore since the Trump administration is basically Russian sock puppets. So we can't really include the U.S.
basically
any
Europe.
longer. It's basically Europe. But I get it. I get some parts of the Trump administration and that Europe handle your business. I got that. There's logic in that. Rich, wealthy Europe with as big an economy, if not bigger than the U.S. is collectively, GDP. Yeah, put money down, bro, if you're so concerned. I get that part of it, and I agree with it. But yeah, if this allows Ukraine to fight at this current level or more for the next 2 years, yeah, that shows Putin, hey, we're not going away. Hey, Europe's not caving in. Ukraine's not giving up. The money hasn't run out, and you can sweat us out. Hey, man, we're going to sweat you for 2 more years, and we're going to hit you for 500,000 casualties a year. So keep sending in all the dipshits from Siberia to line up drunk on the 0 line to get smoked by a $200 drone. We're going to do it for 2 more years, dude. Good luck. Yeah, best of luck to you.
Dramatically increases Russia's risk in the war, I think. Also, on the Ukraine front, another New York Times article, quote, Ukraine plan calls for enhanced military with U.S. and European backup, end quote. Although it's probably a moot point at this juncture, but the security guarantees that this outlines basically says Ukraine will have a roughly 800,000 person standing army. There'll be European,
they already do.
Not NATO, after the armistice. There will be European boots on the ground, not NATO, and there will be an ambiguously cited increase in American intelligence support.
Yada, 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 yada.
Who knows what that means? Yeah, this is basically a moot point because Russia has not been included in any of this discussion.
Why would they?
And do you think Russia is going to go ahead and let Europeans be in Ukraine?
He has no say about it.
Going to happen.
It doesn't matter. He doesn't allow or say anything. Europe mentally has to get to the point of instead of holding up one middle finger to Putin, you give 2 middle fingers to Putin. Do you think Europe would stand for North Korean troops serving in Russia against Ukraine? Yeah, they did. So another made up red line. Russia, don't care. But I get the frustration with Europe. Hey, bro, 10 times the economy of Russia, 10 times, and you want to sit there and act like they're an equal? You want to let them dictate what you're going to do and not going to do? Like unless Putin says, "Yeah, you can do it, little boy." Nah, dude, two middle fingers. But also, but this is going to take a couple of years because Europe is so unprepared for this war. I watched a pretty interesting interview on 60 Minutes on Germany and Germany rearmament. Germany's like, we need to get where we want to be by 2029.
Who was it? Boris Pistorius, or who?
Well, he was part
the
of it.
interviewee?
No, he was part of it,
It was
but
just
also guys in the field.
About,
yeah, it was about 15 minutes, but with him included. But they're like, by
Right.
2029, Germany needs to be in a much better, different, stronger position. But Europe's got to get to the point, one would hope collectively, hey, Russia, you don't tell us what to do. That's over. You manipulating us, strong arming us, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
But you do that through Ukraine in defeating Russia in the field now. So you're not afraid of them and you're not strong armed by them because the majority of their land army has been destroyed already at great cost. Just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will look up that 60 Minutes interview.
It was interesting.
Germany
I think it was 15, 16 minutes long. Talked to Pistorius.
I'll put in the show notes.
Yeah, they talked to dudes in the field. Very well done piece.
Well, I think this security guarantee outline is basically a moot point now because I think this war is going to go on for at least another year for sure.
I would think so.
But I think this was meant to persuade Ukraine to give up territory in the Donbass. I think that was the whole point of meticulously outlining the security guarantees. This was all for Ukraine. This has,
I'm good, bro. If I'm Zelensky, I'm going to get a cup of coffee at the local gas station outside the palace. I'm good, bro. I'm not giving that up.
I think we continue. I think the war continues now. But kudos to Europe for doing something. That's amazing.
So if this keeps this running for 2 more years, that's good news. Good news. 2 more years. Drain the Russian economy. 2 more years.
I just want to comment on this picture in the New York Times of the Ukrainians training. They're training like small arms marksmanship. There's targets.
On the ground. They're shooting sideways.
Dudes are laying on their side.
Yeah.
What's going on with the water? Are they throwing pyro into the water to simulate shooting over water? I don't know.
Or
this
battlefield
is just a weird
conditions. You're under attack.
What is going on? This is just usual Ukrainian armed forces training tomfoolery.
They're equipped. Look how they're equipped. They look like U.S. soldiers, like head to toe. The helmets, the body armor, the boots, the tops and bottoms.
They have good quit.
I always look at how they're equipped. Yeah.
Just as a side note to body armor, because I carry body armor when I go to Ukraine.
Where are we going with this?
I just wanted to mention this. But the latest trend is not to carry plates, but old school, like World War II flak jackets that would not protect you against a rifle, like a rifle bullet, but would protect you against drones blowing up, fragmentation. Just in case anyone's going to Ukraine, you might want to look into flak jackets versus plate carriers.
But clearly, that shows you the largest amount of casualties.
It's all drones, man.
Not from bullet wounds. Like you rarely do you got guys actually shooting at each other with a rifle.
Unless you're in Pokrovsk. Yeah, unless you're in like an urban territory.
You're close in. But the vast majority of injuries are not from gunshot wounds. Maybe less than 10% are from gunshot wounds in the entire war. 5%? Who gets shot anymore? Yeah, right. Artillery much different. But from a bullet hitting you, that's not the way you're going to buy the farm.
Yeah, and that started probably almost a year ago when I was in Sumy. They were talking about that last year. They're talking about, we've got 80% of our casualties are now all drone fragmentation. Anyways, speaking of Ukraine and blowing stuff up, let's talk about the strategic strikes. So two big ones this week. One, the SBU blew up a Russian apparently blew up a Russian submarine in Novorossiysk. So let me show you this.
Pretty
article.
sure they did. I think the evidence is pretty strong.
Well, no, it's not that strong. From the Telegraph in the UK, quote, Ukraine blows up 300 million pound. Let me start over.
That's a small submarine.
It's British pounds. Hold on.
Yeah, right.
Ukraine blows up 300 million pounds Russian submarine with underwater drones. End quote. So that's like not weight. That is like pounds in currency. It's worth 300 British pounds. I should have said British pounds. Okay. So apparently they used a sub-sea baby is what they're calling it, which is an unmanned underwater, looks like a giant torpedo.
Right.
That's, a drone, basically
Right.
a drone torpedo.
It's an
And they
underwater
hit this
drone.
thing.
Yeah.
And they hit this thing in the port of Novorossiysk, which is all the way on the other side of the Black Sea. Let's look at this video, though.
It's
This
a long
video
ways away.
Yeah, it's very far. Probably
600 miles.
600 miles. Yeah. That's a long way for a drone torpedo to travel. And then got really close to the submarine. Let's look at this video. This apparently, the story is the Ukrainians hacked the surveillance cameras on the Russian naval base to get this video from the SBU.
Well, I guess it's possible.
Boom. That's a pretty big explosion. That's huge. And
That's if you are actually next to, if that's next to a ship or anything, they got all of it. That's not like a 50-pound explosion.
It's a big explosion, especially considering that sub was probably 20 feet under the water. So it was pretty impressive. The SBU released this video, and why did they put this AI bullshit green boxes around these ships? Clearly, they did that in post-production, trying to make it seem like it was more science fiction than it actually was.
Okay.
Don't do that. Don't put the AI computer vision boxes around the ships. We all know that you did that after the fact. SBU jackasses. All right. But here's the rest of the story. Apparently, the Russians came out and said it did no damage. That's what the Russians said. But now it's coming out that it has an oil leak. So regardless, it's out of commission. But they did. The Ukrainians did not sink that. Do you sink a sub?
Yeah,
is there another word for sink a sub? But aren't they already sunk?
How about you disable
Aren't subs already sunk?
Okay, brain surgeon.
I don't know.
I got to deal with this shit today. Yeah, dude. So let's say it's disabled.
Okay, disabled. It's definitely disabled.
Dude,
okay,
that was 1,000-pound explosion. You didn't. You got an oil leak, bro, because the whole ship blew up into 100 different pieces. Yeah, just like when the Moskva got hit. Oh, we had some sort of small internal issue and it's being towed in for repairs. Yeah, because it got struck by 2 fucking cruise missiles, bro. That's why you're towing it in for repairs.
It doesn't look like this submarine was completely destroyed. It doesn't look like it was actually
Did you look at the after photos? Did you look at the after photos?
Who's going to release the after photos?
Did you not get the aerial photographs where they sunk the barges at the mouth of the port? And then you can see the shape of the submarine still underwater at the dock, but yet other subs have been moved out.
Is this the one? This is the strike that just happened?
You're welcome.
This is the strike that just happened?
You're welcome. Yes.
Okay.
Dude, 1,000-pound underwater drone goes off adjacent to the sub, and you think it scratched the paint?
I didn't say it scratched the paint. I said it was damaged, but I don't think it was sunk. It's not sunk. It's not out of commission. But
because submarines are designed to withstand 1,000-pound explosions adjacent to it, right? Like all that, depth charge bullshit, torpedo bullshit. It's all made up. Submarines
I
are
didn't say.
impervious to that.
I'm not saying that. I'm not
The
saying
fuck?
that.
The
Okay,
fuck is going on right now?
okay, but
Oh.
this is clearly novel. This is unique in the character of warfare. We have not seen a drone that's underwater hit anything. So that is novel. But I think this highlights a weakness in Ukrainian strategic strikes, that they do not have the capacity to conduct these attacks at scale, because now the Russians can prevent this, right? They can do countermeasures against underwater submarine drones. They can put nets, they can put dolphins. I don't know what the fuck they do, but whatever they do, because they can't mass. If the Ukrainians had the industrial capacity to build these at scale, why wouldn't they use 6 of them, right, at one time? And surprise, like that's what they should have. I think it's it's definitely not a tactical breakthrough for the Ukrainians on the naval front, because they don't have enough of these.
Right. So they're underwater drones. You're right. This is new. There's a lot of companies in the space, a lot of European, U.S. companies in the underwater drone space. Basically, it's an intelligent endurance torpedo. You're right. Ukraine has a problem of manufacturing at scale. They have that with their cruise missiles, with their long-range deep strike on land. They don't produce enough of it. They need to produce thousands a month of deep strike capability. You're absolutely right. That is where they're lacking. Obviously, in this field, they're lacking too. I'll take it. I'll take a $400 million loss for a $500,000 drone. I give them some credit. This is the first successful strike in history of an underwater drone against a naval target like that. I mean, I'll give them their due, but you're right. You're like, you'd want to see 10 of them hit at once. But I bet you this was also a test. Objective. This is a test. Like, is this shit going to work? It's never worked. 10 have crashed out on the way there.
Right.
Finally got one to work.
Just the fact that they can travel 600 miles underwater and then get anywhere near the submarine. Like, to get anywhere near that after traveling 600 miles underwater. I mean, what kind of do they have to? I wonder what the communications and the command and control is at.
That's the problem. It's that command link.
Was it inertial guidance for most of it, and then they raised an antenna to get connection?
I guarantee it popped out.
They probably
closer to the target.
They probably did something. Yeah, they probably did that to realign. Yeah, that's probably what happened. But who knows? Maybe they just used alien technology. So let's talk about these 2 S-400 air defense systems.
Yeah,
that also were destroyed by Ukraine this week, because it's pretty impressive. It really is. This is in the Belgorod region. The title here from defenseua.com, and I'll put it in the show notes, is "Strike in Belgorod region eliminates 2 Russian S-400 air defense systems," with video, end quote. These things, like we just talked about, cost about $80 million a piece. And they're just rolling around in Belgorod, which is I guess that's a territory. We can show the map, but those are expensive. The S-400 is the next to, I guess you'd call it the next to most recent air defense system from Russia, the S-500 being the most recent. That has not been mass distributed, though. Let's look at the video, because it's pretty impressive. Here comes the drone. Boom. Hits that first one, and instant fireworks. Here comes the drone hitting the second one, which is already on smoking. So maybe it got hit by a drone before this as well. So let's watch it one more time. Here comes the drone, hits the S-400. Now, in the second part of the video, the second S-400 TEL, the transporter erector launcher, is already smoking and disabled. And it gets double tapped, I'm presuming. It got double tapped by another drone. Those drones look like fixed wing, long loitering drones. don't know. I did a little research. I couldn't find out what they
Switchblade
think
600?
the drone was. It had a
Switchblade
tiny
600,
little
pick it up,
ineffective
dog.
boom, so it might have been an F6. It might have been a Switchblade 600. It looked like a crappy warhead, so maybe. But you know, when it comes to missile transporting anything, anything that touches that makes the whole thing explode because you're carrying missiles, right? That has a lot of fuel inside the missiles, blah, blah, blah. So even a Switchblade 600 can take out something if it's got a lot of fuel around it. What do you think about that?
You notice they're moving in broad daylight, in open terrain, in an open field. They're not even trying to hide what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense to you? Like this very expensive, low density piece of equipment adjacent to the zero line outside of Kharkiv somewhere. Broad daylight, like around 11 in the morning? Fuck it. Hey, fuck it. Let's go for a drive.
Yeah, I think
That
it was
makes sense
far
to
enough
you?
away. They've probably felt comfortable that it was outside the 100-kilometer death zone. So these things probably flew 150 kilometers. These drones, I'm just guessing. So they were probably comfortable.
That was pretty far.
That's the tyranny of distance with air defense systems, and that's why they're so vulnerable. Is you want to get them close up, right? Because they're more effective.
Do we know where in
Then they're vulnerable.
Belgorod? Do we know where in Belgorod this was? I'm never saying Belgorod.
I can tell you.
I'm just
You
never
will say
saying
Belgorod.
that.
Okay,
No, I'm never
you will say
saying
that. It did give. It's in the Reykjavik area, and I don't know where that is. Reykjavik,
I'm homing on-
Raievka.
I think it's less than 100 Ks somewhere.
Let's look it up. Let's look it up on Google Maps and see if we can find out where that is.
Reich?
Let's
Is
see
it
if
Reikit? No, I don't think I have it.
No, it's Reykjavik. I just spelled it for you. Hold on. Let me see if this will. My internet sucks balls.
I think they were closer than
Here
we
go.
think they are. Because I'm seeing
Okay.
Racket Noi.
Okay, I've got it. I've got Reykjavik here.
Okay, where is it?
It's pretty close to Kharkiv.
Dude, what'd I tell you? How far away were these ass clowns driving this thing?
So here on the map, it's basically just north of Belgorod city proper. So it's pretty close. I guess you're right. Let's map it out from the front.
Well, I'm just trying to make the point
distance
here. What a bunch of no talent, air breathing ass clowns.
It's about 30, maybe 40 miles away from the front, and they're just cruising around.
You know you're under drone surveillance. Come on, dude.
These morons, these stupid Russians doing stupid Russian things.
I mean, that's pretty close to the front lines for your
Why in the
air
daytime?
defense. But,
why would you do it in the daytime? At a very minimum, do it at nighttime.
Right. We ask this all the time, and we never get an intelligent answer. Same with all these attacks. All these armored attacks are in freaking between 11 and 1 in the afternoon. You're not even trying. I got it. You don't have night vision goggles. You can't afford them. You can't even crowdsource them on eBay like normal people do. Can't you go by moonlight or some shit? Can you shoot flares?
No,
I mean,
cannot.
bro, can you work with me on this? Broad daylight every time. All these guys, all these Russians. If it's at nighttime, they shut down. I think they're in a bunker hiding. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're idiots.
They can't move.
Russians
They can't move
things.
They can't move at night. I guarantee you, these cats are probably like, we don't have NVGs, bro. How the fuck you think we're driving these TELs at nighttime? Like, we can't see anything. Okay.
I have no idea what goes on in the minds of the Kremlin generals that tell them to do something, and then the colonels and the majors just
like,
blindly do it.
Move it. Move
They're
your
like,
stuff. I need it there today at this time. Okay, dude, we're 30 clicks from the front. You know we're under surveillance.
Yeah.
Shut up. Quit being a coward. Move out.
And plus, they're actually looking for stuff like that.
The big
Like,
expensive stuff, yeah.
Yeah, they're the high value target. Anyways, let's talk about an interesting. You may have come across this. It's very interesting to me. It is.
You mean bizarre?
Let me show you. It's kind of bizarre. Okay, the title of this New York Times.
Oh God,
long
that's old
read.
news, dude. That's old news.
What? What do you mean it's old
1965,
news?
Dude? Come on.
Yeah, I know, but it's come back, and I'll tell you why it's come back. The title of this article is "How Did the CIA Lose a Nuclear Device?" End quote. Apparently, in 1965, the CIA wanted to spy on China, which had just detonated an atomic bomb. So the CIA had a plan to send climbers to this 25,000 foot peak in the Himalayas with a nuclear powered spy antenna. So they got to almost to the top of this thing, this
what could go wrong?
Super high mountain that looks into China, and a storm came in, and they had to abandon the base camp, and they came back a year later in 1966, and the plutonium powered generator was gone. Apparently there was a snow landslide or some shit, and the device was gone. Look at this graphic. Is this not cool? So this is the mountain right here. This green triangle is where the base camp was that they tried to set up this antenna looking forward into China. But look at this. Look at how cool that is. Good job, New York Times.
That's pretty cool.
The newspaper of record.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool? So they climbed up this giant, almost Mount Everest sized peak with these climbers. And then they lost the nuclear device. It was a 50-pound beach ball sized nuclear device that contained plutonium-239, an isotope used in the atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki.
Okay. And
now it's missing. And they think it slid down into the valleys. There's a lot of water, that comes off the Himalayas, the mountains, and it got washed into the Ganges River somewhere. That millions of Indians depend on the Ganges, and that's why it came up again, because there was a series of landslides in India that washed away some villages, and of course, they blamed it on the nuclear device from the 1960s because nobody believes in science. So of course it's the nuclear generator from the 1960s. Isn't that interesting? It
is interesting to highlight the stupidity of humankind. This stuff is always interesting and fascinating, and
it's all about stupidity.
Preposterous.
And guess who the chief moron was behind this plan? Just take a guess. Who came up with this brilliant moronic plan?
Trump?
It was not Trump, but that's a good guess.
That's my only guess.
It was my favorite fat cigar smoking dickhead Air Force general.
Can you please
Curtis LeMay. Curtis LeMay. Apparently, Curtis LeMay was on the board of trustees at the National Geographic Society.
No.
He got drunk at a party for the National Geographic Society. I'm not making this up. It's I put the article in the show notes. You can read it yourself. He gets drunk at this National Geographic party and talks to a photographer who is also a mountaineer that had summited Mount Everest. And then Curtis LeMay comes up with this brilliant plan to put a radar, a listening device on top of the Himalayas. Curtis LeMay
is it
also responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of Japanese. Clearly, in any other universal timeline, alternate universes, he would be a war criminal. But
so, if we're talking about the mountains themselves, is it Himalayans or Himalayas?
Good one. The Himalayans?
That sounds like maybe people.
Himalayas? The Himalayas.
I believe
The Himalayas?
So. I believe
Let's
so.
go with the Himalayas.
I believe so.
Thank you. Thank you,
I'm
Cliff
just
Clinton.
throwing it out there for the
Himalayas.
The
The Himalayas. So Himalayans would be people that live in the mountains, maybe?
I would go with that. And are we talking about maybe the
What?
Ganges River?
What did I say? Ganges? Let's go with Ganges. Let's go with
I'm just going out on a limb on this one. Hey man, no offense. I'm just trying to figure
I
this
have
out.
never been there, so sue me. And
whoa,
you need to say
the
Belgrade.
Ganges.
Okay.
Belgrade.
Guess what? I have been to Belgrade. All right.
All right, tough guy.
I've been to the Oblast. That's right.
Okay.
Okay. So anyways, I think we could find this thing. I think with modern technology, we could find this reactor.
We should try,
our
listeners.
I think
Us and our listeners. Okay.
Let's do a GoFundMe expedition.
Great idea.
For the Flash Traffic Podcast. You and I, if we get enough funds, we will go to the Himalayas and we will try to find this device. If we get enough.
How hard could it be?
It's not hard. Look, we use hyperspectral imagery from satellites to spy on North Korean radioactivity and nuclear activity. We could use those same satellites, just point it at the Ganges. How do you say it? Say it for me. Ganges River. Ganges. Point it at the Ganges River, and we could find this thing. Because those hyperspectral satellites detect minute levels of radiation.
Yeah, we got a real shot at this, I think.
I think we're going to do this. This is going down. It's going
to happen.
We're going to go to India.
Yep.
It's got to be easier traveling around India than it is Ukraine. I think we could do this.
And I think we'll be welcomed there with open arms.
Especially at these villages that have been washed away by mudslides that they blame the U.S. from 1965. I'm sure they'll be, we're here to make amends. We're here to find.
They'll be like, are you a dickhead like Trump? No, we're different. Americans are different from that. Yeah, we're much different. Yeah.
Do you think if the Indians, like the average villager, found this thing, do you think if he didn't die from cancer in like 15 minutes, do you think he would try to smuggle it to Pakistan?
If he can make money off it, if he can make a buck,
he'd probably smuggle it to Pakistan. Pakistan's already got their own nuclear program.
Yeah, they don't make a buck off this. It's a museum piece. It's a historical piece.
They don't. Pakistan doesn't need it. If somebody found it, they would just give it to the government. And if they didn't die in 15 minutes from radiation. Okay, let's end the podcast on two videos.
Thankfully.
I wanted to talk about the Goofy Space Force. You were in the Space Force. Goofy Space. I was never in the Space Force.
Oh, what were you?
I was never.
You were a space officer. You were Space Command.
I was in the Army. It would be
assigned
like
to
being in the
Space
Marines.
Command.
Yes, but not in the Space Force. There's a distinction.
Okay.
That's like saying you're in the Navy, but you're a Marine. No, I'm not a Marine if I'm in the Navy. What are you talking about? It's just like that. Anyways, never in the Space Force. Space Force was doing goofy things with like Pokemon cards. Like
but you were an astronaut.
I don't even want to talk about.
You were in the astronaut program.
I was never. No, I was never an astronaut. But we do have Army space officers that are astronauts. But I was never one of them.
Yeah, I could have done that. I just didn't want to. I easily could have done that. But I didn't want to.
I could not have been an astronaut. They would not accept me.
I wanted to be in the infantry instead. It was more I thought it was more challenging. I thought I'd be a better person at the other end.
You're way better off being an infantryman, especially when you get out of the Army. Look how great it is when you get out of the Army. And retired astronauts, all they get to do is walk around and write books and
stupid, ignorant shit.
Talk about their careers.
Get elected as senators. Stupid shit.
Yeah, a bunch of ridiculous. Nobody needs that. Nobody wants that. Okay, look at these. Let's end on these two videos. I don't know if I sent this to you. I don't know if you saw this, but this thing is called the Dylan Aero Convoy Escort Vehicle SUV.
What?
Watch the video.
What's
This is a
nonsense,
Suburban.
dude? What's this
Watch
nonsense?
this urban attack vehicle. I'm just,
Oh,
let me make sure the sound's off.
God.
'Cause
Why?
Watch this shit.
Just why, dude? Why?
Look at it's a Suburban
The
with
fuck?
a 134 minigun on it. What? So if you're listening to this on Spotify, I'm
shooting
showing
at
a
the
video. He's probably not shooting anything. It's probably blanks. I would
Shooting at
hope.
the camera, bro.
If you're listening to this on Spotify, I'm showing a video of a Suburban with a minigun that pops
Unarmored
out
Suburban,
of the top.
just like an SUV. Dude, what's he doing? Like shooting shit in the parking lot, dude. This is AI
What
generated.
is going on? No, man, those are
He's
blanks.
got shells
Those are
dropping,
blanks. He's
though.
shooting blanks.
Man, but
Maybe
that thing's
they're not
not
blanks. I
jamming
mean,
shit. But dude,
yes,
dude, he's in a
you're
parking
right.
lot.
If those were blanks, that thing would have jammed in two.
But
two
dude, but what
rounds.
else could it be though? I mean, look at this dude in
I
his
don't know.
flight suit waiting to pop out.
Maybe this is an Air Force vehicle. He's got the flight suit, desert flight suit.
Okay, who
It is
makes
made
this
by an
thing?
aero company. I just mentioned Dylan.
What does that mean?
Whatever, blah blah
Out
blah.
of where? What country are they?
Oh God, who knows? Probably Argentina.
What's their called? It's called Dylan Aero.
Yeah, Dylan Aero,
Tactical.
tactical vehicle.
Oh Jesus!
Blackwater would have loved this thing in Iraq, right? This would have been great for Blackwater to indiscriminately shoot at civilians. This is great.
Okay, Dylan
This is
Aero
some great shit
Convoy
here.
Escort Vehicle. Dylan Aero.
Who? What's the con up here for this vehicle? You're gonna pop out and just shoot a bunch of people?
Upwards. I heard of these guys before. They're in Scottsdale, Arizona.
What? They're right next to you. You can go check them out.
Scottsdale. I think these guys. Yeah, these guys tried to. I think these guys have like a also like a counter UAS thing they're trying to do. Yeah, there's some other company I was looking at that I think competes with Dylan. Yeah.
Well,
okay. That's
regardless,
interesting they come up with this. The minigun, the Dylan
what are they
Aero
shooting here?
minigun.
That
They manufacture a minigun.
what are they shooting here?
For the military?
Yeah, well, this is ridiculous. There's no con op here. You
They're in
never use
Arizona.
this for anything. It is kind of
That's outside their
funny.
headquarters in Phoenix.
Can you imagine a VIP escort and then this thing popping out? Surprise, bitch! With a minigun and just melting everything.
Okay.
And the ad at the end, it also says, at the end of this ad, I guess on Twitter, it says the vehicle is anything but the typical soccer man SUV. Do they mean soccer mom? Or are they actually being
No, they probably mean
egalitarian
soccer
here?
man. Look at they're driving through
Soccer
the
man.
parking lot of their industrial
Okay.
park, like capping off rounds. Like, pretty sure those are blanks, dude.
Yeah, but that thing would jam
they
with a blank. The miniguns
I would
jam all
think
the
so.
time. Why wouldn't it jam with a blank?
They must be CG,
they jam with
CGI
regular
the
rounds.
shit out of this. This is AI, dude.
Yeah,
AI
that must
the
be
shit out of this.
Yeah. Well, at least the muzzle flash is AI.
Yeah.
Because that thing would jam with blanks. They can't shoot blanks out of that. Who knows? Who knows what's going
So
on?
do you prefer
I just think it was.
or the Cybertruck with 50 cal in the back?
I'd rather have this than the Cybertruck with the 50
Okay.
cal in the back. This is cool. It pops out. Surprise. Again, I think Blackwater would have loved to have this in Iraq so they could shoot civilians in their convoy. When anything goes wrong, they just pop this thing out. If the convoy slows down to 10 miles an hour, their TTP was to pop out and shoot to everybody. So
it seemed like that was their policy anyways. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's end War Week Friday. I didn't even say that. I haven't said War Week Friday once.
We can say
This
whatever
whole
we want today.
broadcast.
It
This
doesn't
whole
matter.
podcast.
We're not held liable.
I didn't say War Week Friday. Yeah, let's end it on a video. And I must warn the audience that this is graphic video. Two Russian
field.
mules carrying fuel, open
I
field,
know what you're talking about.
carrying fuel because the
By
Russians
hand.
can't resupply by vehicle. They have to
Right.
do it by human walking. These guys are carrying gasoline, get hit by a drone, hilarity ensues. Let me mute it because it probably has techno music.
Oh, yeah,
Just
you know
walking
there's
across the
bad
field.
techno music. You know there is.
Oh yeah, I'm not even gonna play
You
the
know-
bad
you know
techno.
there is, dude.
Surprise! They're carrying cans of gas, like one can a piece. Is that all you can carry on your
It's
back?
like
Come on,
that's
man.
heavy though, man. Ooh, oh.
Look at the
ooh.
fireball.
Oh boy.
No Russians were harmed in the making of this video.
Oh my god, dude.
Those Russians no longer exist in any molecular form whatsoever.
This is
Wow.
just lazy tactics. Broad daylight.
Just lazy
Oh,
Russians.
Oh. Did he
Yeah,
get both of
yeah.
them with that? Did the other guy get
Oh, I'm sure he
subsumed in
got a
that?
piece of that.
Oh
The-
my gosh.
On an atomic level, those Russians no longer exist in the universe. That is how catastrophic that
What a
was.
way to go. Man,
No
that was a lot
Russians. No Russians were injured in the making of that
that was a
video.
lot more fuel than I thought he was carrying. Oh my goodness.
Well, he's only fuel makes a big explosion. I mean, that was only one can of.
Apparently it does.
Who
Yeah.
knew?
Yeah, apparently it does.
According to
Whoa.
all those Twitter videos of idiots playing with bonfires and pouring gas, nobody knows about gasoline. I guess it's a new invention. People don't understand that. Oh, they also don't understand. Here's a public service announcement. Gasoline has fumes, which are also highly flammable. So don't put gasoline inside your fucking car and carry it to, from the gas station.
These
Idiots.
dudes were probably humping this for an ATV, a motorcycle, whatever.
Who knows? Run a generator,
Yeah, for
to
electronic
keep
warfare,
warm.
whatever.
Who knows what they were doing, but Jesus Christ, everything is terrible. Everything is stupid. Everyone is stupid. I hate everything.
One last thing.
Yes.
Connecticut, UConn,
Uh-oh.
up and coming football program. Don't disrespect, bro. Playing Army on December 27th. Who you picking?
For a bowl game?
Yeah.
Who do you think I'm picking?
It's pathetic. It's the Fenway Bowl.
Oh,
Whatever.
Where is it? I don't even know. I'm
Dude,
so
the Fenway Bowl's got to be in Boston, dude.
bad. Okay.
It said Fenway.
All right.
Who you going
played
with?
it-
UConn or
Who
Army?
the fuck do you think I'm going with?
You're going with Army, aren't you?
Yeah, of course I am.
What do you want to put on it?
Ooh.
$10?
Hmm.
You put 10 on this?
Live podcast from the winner's location. I win, you come to Colorado. You win, I go to Arizona. We do a live podcast.
I'm taking that because the Army's going to get beat down like a freaking chump.
Okay.
Look at this.
All right.
Our Army's rank in college football for passing yards, 310th. UConn, 13th.
They don't need to pass. They're going to run the wishbone all day long.
I know.
Who knows?
It's part
I
of
don't know.
that
Sorry, Army football fans. I
bizarre-
don't know what the fuck they run.
bizarre military academy thing where they can't recruit a quarterback ever. So it's
That
like
can throw.
50 running plays a game. It's like pathetic. Dude, you
It
are going
makes
to get
it so
a
much
beat
more
down.
exciting.
You're
It
getting
makes
a
it
beat
so much
down,
more
dude.
exciting when they actually throw the ball. I don't know shit about football, so
I don't
I'm just
either.
talking out my ass.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm going for
okay.
UConn. All right. We got it. UConn
Okay.
and Army.
So we will do a live podcast from the winner's location, either Arizona or Colorado.
Although there'll be no timeline on that. TBD.
Let's say we have to do it. Let's do it in January, because if we don't put a time,
I don't know if I can do January, but we'll see. But
Oh, I
we'll see.
can't do February.
I'm really
I
not
can do
worried
February.
about it because I'm not going anywhere. You
Okay,
can.
then what do
There's
you
a
care?
place
Then we'll
called
do it
the
in
Arizona
theater if you're
Inn.
that
You can stay
confident.
down the road about 10 minutes from my
Yes.
house. Arizona Inn, beautiful place to stay. 100-year-old, beautiful historic hotel. We'll put you up there.
We'll do a live broadcast from the Arizona hotel. We'll have a live studio audience.
We can do it from the library. Yeah, the average age will be about half a dozen 90-year-olds hanging out
That's
in
fine.
the library.
That's about as good as we're ever going to get. So
Oh
I
my
would be
God.
happy with that.
They use a lot of
very
bad
graphic.
language.
You guys you're showing graphic videos.
Why do they say bad language every
graphic.
other word?
Why?
I'll be
is
like,
that
sorry,
necessary?
Martha. Sorry, you're offended by this shit we're talking about.
Are we doing a podcast over Christmas? I think this might be our last one until the New Year's.
What?
We are?
Well, it all depends on scheduling. Stuff gets busy. I know.
Let's do it after Christmas, probably before New Year's.
Technically,
we'll do
Friday the 26th is after Christmas, dude.
I can't do that. I can't do 26. I'm coming back from
You'll be
vacation.
out in the woods.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do it before New Year's, though, for sure. And we have to. Our next episode, I think, is going to be the prediction episode. We will look back on the predictions we have made this year, and we will look forward to 2026. It will be our prediction episode, and it will be so popular that, again, it will break the internet just like the last one did.
Yep. If the Epstein files release doesn't break the internet, our show is.
Oh, that's right. Something's happening to the internet. Okay, if you like the Flash Traffic podcast, I screwed up the name. If you like the Flash Traffic podcast, why don't you subscribe either on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your knowledge, your very useful war knowledge. Subscribe, forward, do all the social media things. Please help us out. Okay. And Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Happy
Hanukkah.
Merry Christmas.
Kwanzaa. Whatever you
everything.
celebrate.
Everything.
Yes.
Be joyful.
Everything. All the things. Okay. Good chat.
Be nice to people.
Be cool. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
The Flash Traffic Podcast.